All right. Today we're going to be talking about messaging. It's super important for your company. If you don't get it right, you will have lost before you even started. So I'm going to show you how to create effective and powerful messaging. And I'm going to share some tips that I think about when I'm building messaging, as well as the template that I've developed over time and use for myself and for clients. The first thing I think about is keeping it simple. If my grandmother can understand the messaging that I'm putting together, then I'm on the right track. The second thing I think about is it clear? Nobody has time to decipher what it is that you're selling. If it's not clear to them up front, they're not going to buy your product. The third thing is always start with the why. There was a video about 10 years ago from Simon Sinek. It's called The Golden Circle, and you should always start with the why in your messaging because it is what draws people in. The fourth one is you have to differentiate your product or service. It can't just be better. It fundamentally has to be different. So when you're thinking about your messaging, figure out what separates you from everyone else in the space and really focus on that. And the fifth thing is it has to tell a story. People are drawn in by a story. They're not going to be drawn in by speeds or feeds. And then what I do is I come to this template. This is not just a template that Canva provided and I'm just copying it and filling it in. It is something that I personally have worked with my marketing teams over the years to develop. Let's jump in. The first thing I always start with is the company. And especially for startups, don't confuse company with product. Your company is the brand that your customers are going to be engaging with. The product is what you're selling them. So I always start with the company. It's the macro, right? The big umbrella. This is the why. Why are they in business? Why did they create this company? If you can answer those in these purpose and vision, then it really will set the tone for the messaging that you develop as you go on. The second section is all about messaging and positioning. These are the basic things that you'll be asked for either internally or externally. Now we're going to go to the positioning statement. This is a pretty standard positioning statement over time, but it really helps you break down and think about all of the components. Now I'm going to give you a little tip here. I personally never talk about a competitor by name because I don't want to give any of my competitors free airtime. I don't want to validate that I think they're a competitor. And if my prospect doesn't know who they are, then I don't want to add that competitor to their short list of companies that they're going to consider. This really breaks down the details behind the value proposition above. So what is the specific customer problem? And by the way, you can do this for every single one of your personas. We'll do a persona lesson. This whole section should be one-to-one, so it's all mapping. The miscellaneous section, it's titled miscellaneous, but it doesn't mean it's not important. One is key statistics. It's always good to be able to validate and back up what you're saying with actual numbers. So SEO terms, these are the key terms that are used in your industry. You always want to have a running list of those so that whoever's creating your content can refer to them so that your ranking goes up. And then while I'm doing all of this, I just go ahead and create the Google text ad copy because I'm already working on the messaging and it just makes sense to show how it applies. And that's basically, what I go through with clients when I'm working on their messaging. So feel free to download the template. I hope it works for you. It has worked for me and my teams over the years, and I'll see you next time.